It's time for TWiT, and we've got the return of two people who haven't been on in a long time. Molly Wood is back from CNET TV, and Jeff Canata from the Totally Rad Show. Of course, the great MG Siegler joins us as well as we talk about the Groupon and Pandora IPOs, the hacks on Bitcoin, and a lot more. Stay tuned. TWiT is next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Audio bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by the new Winamp for Android, featuring wireless sync and one-click iTunes import. Now with free daily music downloads and full-length CD listening parties. Download it for free at winamp.com/Android. Video bandwidth for TWiT is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is TWiT, This Week in Tech, episode 306, recorded June 19th, 2011. If they mated. This Week in Tech is brought to you by GoToMeeting, the easiest, most reliable online meeting service. For your free 30-day trial, visit gotomeeting.com, promo code TWiT. And by Carbonite. Backing up the files on your PC or Mac is safe and easy with Carbonite. For a free trial, plus 2 free months with purchase, go to carbonite.com. Offer code TWiT. And by Squarespace, the fast and easy way to create a high-quality website or blog. For a free trial and 30% off your new account for 3 months, go to squarespace.com and use the offer code TWiT6. It's time for TWiT, This Week in Tech, the show that covers the tech news of the week. And actually, we're a little late because we should have had this guy on last week, Jeff Canata from the Totally Rad Show.
Hey, glad to be back. This is awesome.
Yeah, last week, of course, was E3, but I wanted to give you time to play Duke Nukem Forever.
You would want to punish me like that?
I wanted to give you enough time to give us a review. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I also want to introduce panelist number 2, Miss Molly Wood. So nice to have you.
So, it's good to be back. I missed you.
We haven't had you on in a year, I think.
Right, something like that, yeah. That's crazy time.
That was the court-mandated cooling off period.
Yeah,
but
we worked it out. We had our drinks. We're good now.
So nice to see you, Molly, of course, on CNET TV at cnettv.com, hosts of Buzz Out Loud, and many other fine things at CBS. They have a big shakeup at CBS Interactive. I'm going to ask you about that. Mr.
Okay.
Farber's back.
Farber's back.
I like
Not my
that.
boss, though. I don't have that much to say about it.
I like Dan. I'm a big fan, but I'll ask you about that, what you think it means. There's a new boss. There's a new boss in town from Click.tv, I think.
Clicker.
Clicker.
Mm-hmm.
Also here, Mr. Paris Lemon himself.
Hey.
MG Siegler, not, as some in the chat room would have it, MG Lane.
I can go by that. That's
You want
okay.
to? I'll change it. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's
sure,
nice to have you, MG.
Yeah, thanks
MG,
for
of course, is probably the most prolific blogger there is at TechCrunch.com. Wrote a great blog post today likening Facebook to the victims of Sparta.
Yeah, that's been fun dealing with the ramifications of that.
His headline: "Tonight we dine in hell." So, if I may paraphrase, your contention was that Facebook. Well, first of all, you hate PR people in general.
I wouldn't say that generally sweeping of a statement. I mean, I like some of them individually just fine, but I would say as a whole that their goal is like the opposite of mine. So
Yeah.
yes, we're at war.
You know, you would think, in fact, that that PR people would recognize that their job is to help you do your job.
Right. I feel like though we've gotten away from that entirely, pretty much.
They've become advocates for their company.
Yeah, but it's not even so much that. It's like the ways that they're trying to do it. Obviously, they're going to be doing that. That's what they're hired to do. That's what they're paid to do. But some of the manipulation stuff is not cool that they've been kind of partaking in. And Facebook is the perfect example of that, I think, recently.
So tell me what in your opinion. Well, of course, we know the Burstyn Marsteller story where Facebook hired a PR firm to slime Google.
Right. That was a really bad situation. This latest thing is not to that level. It's just more or less, I had a few big, Facebook scoops earlier last week. Two of them, with the third kind of being a third story on it. As soon as one of those hit, Facebook kind of, just went into action and got their PR team to start reaching out to other sites, other bloggers, kind of, and saying, hey, maybe you should write this angle, which is, directly opposed to what TechCrunch had said about it. And the problem is, of course, that I'm a little bit closer to some of these other people that Facebook is reaching out to than they may have thought for some reason. So I get these emails, sent to me, forwarded to me, showing like exactly what they're trying to spin this as.
I love that when that happens. When a competitor tries to slime you, thinking that another blogger might be your natural enemy, and they go, "Yeah, right. I am a little more friends with MG than you, you little slime ball weasel bag of scum."
Right, that's more or less what I tried to say.
Subtle, real subtle, Leo.
Yeah.
Well, actually, though, this ties into Duke Nukem Forever, because the PR firm for Duke Nukem Forever, Jeff Canata, well, at least one of the head of the PR firm wasn't too happy about the bad reviews, I gather.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he made it public and said...
he tweeted!
He tweeted. Which, as we've come to learn in any context, is the wrong way to handle anything.
Well, I think he shouldn't have sent the crotch shot to the guy at Kotaku.
Yeah.
I think that was a mistake.
A little over the top.
Yeah.
So yeah, he said that some of the reviews, in his opinion, were over the line and had gone over into being insulting and sort of reveling in trashing the game, and was going to make it clear that in future cases they were going to take a different stance on who was going to get early review copies of games based on how people reviewed this game, which of course is ridiculous. And 2K, to their credit, distanced themselves from him. And unfortunately, this is a public expression of this idea of limiting access.
It's always been that way. They do it all the time.
Exactly. So one guy actually comes out and says it, and he gets busted, but it's been the case for a long time. And unfortunately, in a lot of industries, and the gaming industry is one, that PR controls access completely. So it's a difficult thing when you want access to these games early, and you want hits on your site, and you want that review to come up when the day the game drops, and you need access to that game, and yet they're asking you to play nice. It's a tough position to be in.
So the PR company is the Redner Group, and the tweeter is. Oh, he's pulled. Oh, that's interesting. He pulled the tweet down. Oh, I was gonna show you the tweet. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe he says too many went too far with their reviews of Duke Nukem. We are reviewing who gets games next time and who doesn't, based on today's venom. Wow, but it does happen, doesn't it? I mean,
Absolutely.
we've all seen this where a PR firm, whether thinly veiled or not, says, well, don't count on an iPod next time, buddy boy. Right, Molly?
Absolutely. And in fact, Apple's probably the worst offender in terms of playing that game.
I didn't say
well, the worst offender on the tech side. The video game industry, I think it's long been an open secret that the video game industry works on that system more than most.
And the thing that's really a shame about the video game industry is how much review scores are tied into compensation on the production side. I mean, you have guys whose contracts have bonuses based on Metacritic scores, which is absolutely ridiculous to me. I mean, I understand the motivation to try to make better games, but when you have that much emphasis put on a number that's assigned by anybody on the web, really, you're going to get these conflicts of interests.
That seems like a bad idea. I don't. Yeah, that's too.
It
bad.
happens all the time.
Yeah. I stay away from PR people. I know, like you, MG. I know a lot of nice PR people. Like most of them are very nice people.
Right.
But
I mean, they're like on an individual basis. Of course, they're not evil people. Setting out to screw over other people. I just think that. That this is like the directive coming down from their bosses, and that's what they want them to do. So they're doing it.
But I've always felt like it should be an adversarial situation. I think you're in a different position, because I don't know. I don't actually deal with facts. So I don't,
That's helpful.
so it's easy for me. I don't need anything from them.
It's the only way to go. Like, you know what? No, I'm not interested in your product unless I can find something really kind of snotty to say about it on my show.
Well, I don't say that either, but I just, you know, to me, I just want to use. I don't want to deal with them. I'll buy the product. I just want to use the product, and I'll tell you what I think of it. Period. That's end of that. And
Right.
And see, you did, for instance, MG, you opened a can of worms because when you wrote about this new Facebook, was it the Sparta project?
Yeah, Project Spartan.
Project Spartan. You you see, you went to Facebook PR and offered them a chance to comment.
Right. Right, of course, yeah.
That's like journalism. I don't understand that.
Well, you know, sometimes we do that, sometimes we don't. I don't know. But this seemed like a natural thing. I mean, you know, I knew a lot about it. I had some access to it, and so I wanted to see if they wanted to say something about it, and they had nothing to say, so I published what I was going to publish in the first place, and then they get all mad, you know, that I published that. So,
well, they can get mad. What are they going to do? Actually, what they could do is they could embed something in the Facebook code that makes it impossible for TechCrunch writers to see what's going on.
So they already do that, actually. I mean, they literally have that feature, and they've joked about it. We posted a few weeks ago, we posted a video, a tech talk that they did at their headquarters. Basically, they have anyone but TechCrunch can see this little switch that they can flip. The problem is this was totally outside of that. This wasn't live code that I saw. This is, you know, behind a few different levels.
It does sound like there might
security.
be a little shooting war, though, between Facebook and TechCrunch. Just a little.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I don't know if you remember the story, probably from like two years ago, I guess now. They actually put a feature in the site, Facebook Facts, and we wrote about it, and it's like, what is this feature? Like, who on earth is going to fax anything? It turns out this was just a feature that they turned on for the TechCrunch network of employees right there, so we could all see it, no one else could see it, and then, they had their fun with that one. So we owed them, and we got them, I think.
Wait. The truth is, I think this has always gone on. When campaigner Richard Nixon hired ad men to run his campaign, and the Democrats hired a guy named Dick Tuck to be a dirty trickster in the 1968 campaign. And he did things like, remember Nixon's campaign slogan was "Nixon's the one," and Dick Tuck mentions this. He was a PR and ad guy. He mentions this in his memoir. He got a bunch of pregnant women to meet Richard Nixon as he was whistle stopping with the sign "Nixon's the one" over their pregnant bellies, and you know, they got a good laugh.
Right.
This has gone on for a long time. This is the dirty trick side of PR.
Of course.
So what are we going to do? What are we going to complain about? Do you have, Jeff? Have you ever been bit by this?
You know, not too much. I'm like you. I'm not really a journalist.
We're pundits.
I consider pundits, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I come on and say my opinion, and it's my opinion, and no one controls it, and they can take it or leave it as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
But, you know, it is nice when you get access, you get that early scoop on stuff. I'm just not willing to compromise anything. And I you know, obviously nobody's going to cop to that, but
I don't even do embargoes. Do you do embargoes, Molly, or NDAs? I guess you have to.
I don't usually personally. I think we've maybe agreed to one or two over the course of Buzz Out Loud. Obviously, news.com does. I mean, I can see why the PR people of the world and the PR agencies of the world are getting increasingly desperate because they cannot figure out a way to handle the leaks, right? I mean, the entire landscape has changed. They used to have at least a modicum of control.
That's a good point.
It would be kind of surprising when there was a big like supply chain leak. But now you just, you know, even Apple cannot legitimately keep something secret forever. And I think it's kind of like dealing with a 2-year-old. Like you just don't know how to handle it. So you get madder and madder and madder and scream at them and scream at them. And obviously that's never going to work. They have to really respond to the fact that their jobs are not the same as they used to be.
That's a really good point. Partly that's because, well, it's all because of the internet, but there's so many bloggers, there's so many people digging, and all it takes is one, you know, leak, and boom, it's all out there. But this is good for, frankly, it's good for the end users because we have more information, and we can't be spun as easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're just going to have to wake up to the fact that we're going to get this information. We're going to publish it because why wouldn't we? And that ultimately is good for consumers because the system of sort of control and, controlled release was always about media manipulation at its core anyway. Like, I'm sorry, PR world, that we're not as easily manipulated as we used to be other than by Apple. But it's a new world.
Yeah. I consider it a badge of honor that I no longer get invited to Apple events. It doesn't bother me. And we're able to cover it. It doesn't affect our coverage, really. I just thought it was interesting, the kind of open bickering now between journalists and PR. And you're fighting a good fight. I like it, MG.
It'll get much worse too. This is step one of something that's going to continue to snowball into every publication.
What's the repercussions then of your article today? Have you?
From them, I haven't heard a peep from them. I've heard a peep from every single other company, I think, for everything from Bravo to, wow, you were really kind of harsh, those kind of things. But I haven't heard a peep from them, and I don't expect to. I mean, if they know how to get in touch with me if they want to, but I don't know. We'll see.
In some ways, it's also the disadvantage of writing for such a high-profile publication or being on such a high-profile show, or I kind of like being in the backwater. I don't want the attention. I don't want them to know what I'm saying. And every once in a while, I'll get
Yeah, you're really in the backwater.
No, I am. No. So far, nobody knows we exist, and I think that's good. I want to keep it up. Seriously, I'm not kidding. Every once in a while, I'll get an email from somebody saying, "Hey, I heard what you said," and I'm always shocked. And I think that it mostly comes from because we have this tight-knit group of listeners and viewers. And they're it's insular. They're kind of insulated. But they tweet about it, or it's, some of them are tattletales, and they will go tell somebody.
Yeah.
And that's when I know, Here's us casting making a major stroke for authenticity. Apparently, President Obama is going to actually tweet.
Really? Do we think that's actually going to be him?
Oh, come on!
His first tweet was today, right? His Father's Day tweet.
Father's Day.
Could they sign it BO if it weren't him?
Oh, that's check and mate. You're absolutely right.
Should they reconsider signing it BO no matter what?
Mr. Hussein.
Really? I just can't wait until Barack starts having hashtags on stuff. Like getting in with all the memes. So Barack is weighing in on all the pressing issues on Twitter.
How do you know if the first lady is macking on you?
Yeah.
So he said, so I'm looking now on his Twitter account. There it is. It's got the big BO on it. Being a father is sometimes my hardest, but always my most rewarding job. Happy father. I don't know. What does that mean when he tweeted it? Did he dictate it to a secretary who then went down the hall to the official social media consultant for the,
Right.
Seriously, what does that mean? He's not typing it into his BlackBerry. I'll tell you.
I looked at if you look on the source of it, it says it's from the web, so it wasn't sent from a BlackBerry or any kind of mobile device.
Okay.
I assume that these still have to be, if not copy edited, cleared for any kind of, weird statement that could be in there that could be misconstrued as something. So yeah, he probably dictates it to someone, and then it's his words, and then someone tweets it for him, of course.
It's like a West Wing episode. I know what happens. He dictates it. They bring it down the hall to the social media expert, who brings it down to the basement to the White House counsel. The White House counsel then vets it, and then they bring it upstairs to it's somebody in the Navy who has a special typing machine, and he's like a naval officer, and then he types it in the special typing machine, and then it goes on the Twitter.
Yeah, it's like being a father is my hardest job. No, we don't want to go with is. We want to do sometimes is my hardest job, because that would make the constituents think that other things aren't hard. So
that's true. I bet he did say that.
It's parsed to death.
I bet they said, can we put sometimes in there?
Also, I got to say, I'm pro the authenticity argument, but I don't really want him to have time for this.
No, that's a good point.
I don't need this. I need other things.
Is this really the tweet we want to read? Yep. If you've enjoyed the president's tweets, don't worry. He'll still make frequent appearances here. It's like, no. Come on, get to work, dude. Get off the Twitter. On the other hand...
Well, this is all about his campaign, right? They're doing this now because they're ramping it up for the 2012 election, of course. Before, for the past few years, whatever, this account has been alive with 8 million plus followers. It just hasn't been him. It's been the Democratic National Committee or whatever tweeting for him. So
they say Obama for America staff, which is the campaign staff, by the way, it's not the White House, will be managing both President Obama's Facebook page and his Twitter account, posting daily updates from the campaign trail and everywhere in between. You'll be hearing from President Obama regularly, too. Tweets will be signed -BO.
I just wish he had this a couple of months ago, We could have had a first-hand report of Osama killing.
Right.
That's the tweet you want him to do.
Yeah. What if he broke that news over Twitter?
I think you got him.
In the situation
-BO.
Sitting in the situation room. You'll hear about this tomorrow. -BO. Cool stuff going down.
OH. We got that son of. Yeah, I think that's good. I like it. I do want to see.
Found my birth certificate. #SuckItTrump.
Do you?
Okay. If he had a little time for that, that would be okay.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I mean, maybe that. I don't know. I mean,
well, maybe he hears now all of us saying this kind of stuff, and I think other people are going to be putting this out there. Is it actually him tweeting?
Right.
Is he having some kind of errand boy run over and tweet these things? So I'm sure we're going to see a picture of him typing at a keyboard and like the angle of him actually tweeting.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see that.
You're right. Of course we will.
Yeah.
And that's really the important thing to remember. You made that point. This is not the White House. The picture says 2012. This is the beginning of the re-election campaign is what this really is.
Right.
And then I love reading the replies. Like people think they're talking to him. Hey, that's good to hear. I like hearing from my president, says Kingdom Victory.
I do want to know what happens when I DM him.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, MG.
I do want to know what happens if I were to DM him. So he follows, that account follows me. If I send him a message, who reads that?
Oh yeah.
What were you saying, Jeff?
I was just saying, of all the presidential candidates we've ever had, I would say he's the one I'm most likely to think it could possibly be him once or twice.
Most likely to tweet. It's in his yearbook.
Yeah.
Here's a response from Canata, 1969. Barack Obama, don't sit around tweeting. Get us out of Iraq.
Yeah.
Here's one. I have received many tweets and emails, BO. Still waiting for dinner invitation. Oh, here's a good one from Julie Eklund. Barack Obama, sorry you are making this change. Unfollowing now. Man, that Twitter crowd is harsh.
Wow.
They're like, I liked it when there were no tweets on it.
That's exactly right. Stop tweeting. I get that all the time. I start tweeting. People say, I'm unfollowing you.
And that's so annoying how the president is clogging up my Twitter feed.
I don't want to see those.
Jerk. Tweets too much.
Jerk.
I don't like basketball that much.
If I wanted to hear from Barack Obama, I would not have followed Barack Obama on Twitter.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, you guys know because you're on the inside. Who tweets for real? Does Lady Gaga really do her tweets?
I would guess she does.
No. You think? No? Molly, you're a woman.
Actually, I think Lady Gaga might.
They feel very real.
Those feel pretty authentic.
Does she do her albums? I don't know.
She lip syncs, but she tweets. Paris Hilton, we know, doesn't tweet because Paris, when she was in jail or something, and said, I think I'm going to watch a movie tonight. Okay, we think that's probably her social media expert who didn't get the text message. Stop tweeting. Paris is in prison. I don't know. I think that it is a little unseemly for the President of the United States to tweet. On the other hand, you do want authentic, genuine communication from your leaders.
I don't, right? He's not my friend. I mean, I want authentic, genuine communication on TV and in press releases and in regular updates on what's going on in as much as he can tell me. But I don't need to feel like we're buddies like that on Twitter.
Well, does Twitter have to be used as a buddy system? I mean, it can be a news service, right? He can be using it as a way to disseminate information.
That is absolutely how it's used now.
But I think that's how it has been used up to this point. But for them to make this big point about how, like, sometimes he's going to tweet and he's going to talk about how being a dad is hard, that I guess I feel like I don't need from the Barack Obama Twitter account. I wouldn't necessarily expect it.
I would imagine like the majority of the tweets we're going to see are like, "Thank you, Cincinnati, for your warm, reception during my campaign trail, BO."
Thanks
It'll
for your $8 million, and we'll spend it wisely.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. Here's a link to the campaign. Donate now.
Well, in fact, right there on the Facebook page, it's exactly what it says. Donate now. I got a text message yesterday from the campaign saying, "Would you like to have dinner with Barack Obama?" I thought, great. It said, "Click this link." I said, "Yes, sir." And then it said it's a lottery and you have to give them money and maybe you'll get to go. I thought that was illegal. Maybe it's not in the White House. And 21 million people like his Facebook page. That's a pretty big number. 21.7 million people. Will 2012 really come down to how well you use the internet and social media? How important is that? It was somewhat important last time. Is it going to be everything this year? This next time? Molly, you follow this. What do you think?
I think it is going to come down to how much reading you do, right? How well you monitor it. I think you probably do have to be part of it, and I think that President Obama's done a good job of, being involved in live streamed Facebook town halls. I think that
was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool, and I think that's really important. And I think, he visited Twitter headquarters, for crying out loud. I think that stuff shows that he is of the community, or he's aware of what's happening online. I don't know that I don't know that it necessarily means he has to be tweeting. It's probably not. It's not the worst thing ever, right? I don't want him to open himself up to attacks on, how busy he is, not that he has time to tweet. But you got to be paying attention for sure. And I think you have to show that you're paying attention to these trends.
Yeah,
I also think that in an era where we have candidates who are actively combative with major news organizations, to have a place that they can disseminate information on their own terms, in their own voice, is extremely attractive to them. So if they can manage to get an audience that is completely unfiltered, that they have direct one-to-one communication with on either side of the political aisle, that is something that they're going to want to take advantage of.
Exactly right. It's disintermediation. It's what the internet's all about.
Yeah.
It's Father's Day. We have a Google Doodle to talk about and a lot more. Jeff Canata is here from the Totally Rad Show on Revision 3, and he is at Jeff Canata on Twitter. What else you want to plug? You got something else to plug?
Yeah, I do the Weekend Confirmed podcast, which is all about video games, once a week on shacknews.com.
Cool. And somebody in the chat room wants your review of the new Woody Allen film, so maybe later.
Oh, yeah. I haven't
it.
seen it yet. I'm excited. I'm a huge Woody Allen fan.
Well, you're going to love it. Molly Wood is also here from CBS Interactive and CNETTV.com. Molly Wood on the Twitter. Whoop. Every once in a while you go dark, and then you come back.
I don't, yeah.
I'm
just maintaining my aura of mystery.
Yes, I like it. The mystery, the mystery woman from CBS, and MG Siegler from TechCrunch, and Paris Lemon on the Twitter.
Yes.
Easy to remember. Yes. Just think of a sour lemon Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuck on the Eiffel Tower. Easy.
Right. Perfect. Yeah.
We're going to take a little itty-bitty break. You may smoke them if you've got them, panel, and while you do that, I'll talk about GoToMeeting. Our good friends at Citrix have so many good products based on their very high-quality remote access backend. GoToMeeting is the one I use more than anything, and that's because, unfortunately, I hate this, but as you become a business, you got to have meetings. Gosh darn it. Who thought that up? And the worst kind of meeting, the one you don't want to do is the conference call where you're all sitting on the phone and you know the other guy's playing Tetris or, harvesting his cauliflower, and I just hate it. That's why I like GoToMeeting. GoToMeeting is a great, in fact, we don't, even if it's just a conference call, we will start it with GoToMeeting because GoToMeeting has built-in a conference bridge as well as voice over IP, so you can use it on your computer with the headphones and mic on your computer, on your iPad, or you can use a telephone. And then, should you need to show somebody something, it's really easy just to fire up that say, look, here it is on the screen, and they can see your screen. Great for presentations, for training, for collaborating on documents. And because it's brought to you by Citrix, they've got great 24/7 support. They've got 128-bit SSL, so it's completely safe to use even in an open Wi-Fi access spot. And it's just reliable, fast, easy to set up, and just great. We, in our calendars now, it's so funny. We don't say we're going to have a meeting anymore. I'll get the email saying we're going to have a G2M. Okay, I know what you're talking about. You will too when you try it free for 30 days. Go to meeting.com, click the try it free button, and use the offer code TWiT. GOTO, meeting.com, offer code TWiT. Show, if you're not the boss, show the boss. I think the boss will be very impressed. Go to meeting.com. We love it. So the Google Doodle today, I kind of like, it's like felt. It looks like it's felt.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, with a little tie on it. Happy Father's Day. It's so strange what they decide to do doodles on and what they don't. Like IPv6 Day, they didn't do anything. But Les Paul's 92nd anniversary of his birth, they did something. It's like you never know what they're going to doodle. This one doesn't seem to be interactive. I keep trying to make it do something.
Have you ever gotten a tie for Father's Day, Leo?
Every Father's Day. You bet.
Do you really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How about you? Well, you're not a father. You wouldn't.
I'm not a father, but I've never given a tie before, so I feel like that's an outdated idea, but clearly not.
Well, what did you give your dad?
I gave him a gift certificate for golf.
Perfect.
So I guess that's just as cliched.
No, it's perfect. That's good. No, that's good. No, I think gadgets. I think technology is probably pretty popular.
For sure.
If you're really wealthy and you want to you really like your father, an iPad or one of them new Android tablets. I just was looking at I hadn't paid much attention to it, but there are a bunch of videos now on this new HP touchpad, the WebOS pad. I like how that looks. Have you guys looked at it at all, or? I'm tempted.
I haven't played with it. I've seen it. Yeah, it does look really good. I always really liked WebOS.
Me too.
The pre and whatnot. It was just that hardware was too slow. So hopefully this is good.
It was underpowered.
Yeah, I feel like this tablet could definitely be a dark horse. I mean, it obviously is going to depend on some app support, but WebOS is it really is just a good operating system. It's easy to use. It's pretty intuitive, probably even more so than Honeycomb. I have kind of high hopes for this one.
Well, oddly enough, the BlackBerry's Playbook, they say they've shipped 500,000. You laugh. You know?
Oh, they've shipped 500,000. How much? There are 499,999 sitting on the store shelves. That's good.
and that's kind of that's the question mark on Android tablets. I don't think they're selling very well. Samsung apparently is the best seller with its 10.1. I like it. That's the one that Google gave away at Google I/O. It's nice, but Android isn't an iPad. It's just not the same.
Yeah. The 10.1, the Galaxy Tab, is by far much better than the Zoom, but it's still not. I still have no idea who would buy that at basically the same price over an iPad.
Exactly.
Store and buy an iPad. Yeah.
RIM is just suffering horrible torments at this point. In fact, they've announced not only have did they downgrade their earnings, net income down to $695 million from $934, but it looks like we got layoffs coming. I think the Playbook was kind of considered the last best hope. They have a nice BlackBerry 9900, but is it over for RIM?
I think it's got to be close to over for RIM unless they get in some new leadership stat. I mean, honestly, I don't understand why they put their last best hope in the Playbook in the first place. I think they got distracted by a market that is a little bit overblown. I mean, I think half the reason that Android tablets aren't taking off and the iPad sales have plateaued a tiny bit is that's a pretty discrete market right now. Not that many people need a tablet in the first place, and then they completely failed to articulate who on earth would need a Playbook. And I feel like they took their eye off the ball, which was make some better phones.
Yeah, that's a good point. And they really have fallen behind in phones.
I mean, really, the Storm and the Storm 2, that's your answer to the touchscreen smartphone market? Guys.
You know who uses BlackBerries, though? High schoolers love BlackBerries. And I guess college kids by extension, because they use the BlackBerry Messenger, and that's, of course, why Apple's doing iMessenger to compete with that. I think this is probably the Father's Day gift. It's a Kindle.
Yeah.
Amazing legs on that thing. This is the one with the ad-supported Kindle. So on the, it's not too bad.
I love my Kindle.
Yeah.
I started reading on the iPad a little bit just because it was easier to do it in bed and you could leave all the lights off except for the iPad. And then I went back to the Kindle and realized how much better how much better it was.
$114. This is Wi-Fi. You get the ad on the front. That's the That's the difference.
Right. Does the ad bother you at all?
Not at all. And then there's a little bar there, but when you're actually reading a book, the ad goes away. Oh, and this is nice. You can now get Audible books play on here, which I really like. Your whole Audible library is in there. They've got a new interface for that. I think this is...
Yeah, if they can get that thing down to $99 with the ad on it, that's going to be a really enticing price.
They're close. You're right, though. They do. They need to get under 100, don't they? But you see, this is so I'm reading the book here. There's no... Sorry about the word lubrication. I don't know how that...
Leo, are you able to sync back and forth between audio and text?
No, the whisper sync.
That would be a wonderful
I
integration.
have asked Audible for that many times, because then you could have an Audible book on here. You could read when you can't listen, but then it would take you to that point in the audio. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome?
I would love that. I love audiobooks and listen to them all the time, but I oftentimes want to then read where I left off, as you're saying, and it would be great to be able to have that.
I think they should also have like this thing that if you go unconscious while you're listening to one, it automatically stops the book. I don't know.
Heart rate monitor.
If it falls in your face while you're reading, it just knows.
Yes, you can say that's all it needs is like a little, gyroscope or accelerator.
I think Apple could do that.
Fall asleep again, and the kid will give you a black eye. We'll at least stop the book.
Just a little nose sensor.
That's why I switched back to the iPad.
Why is that?
Because I knew if I ever fell asleep reading my iPad and that fell on my face,
that would
hurt.
Was
not going to be.
But this
I'm not going on the.
It was a safety issue.
Yeah, this you could sleep with. It'd be no problem at all. Oh, and it doesn't even get smudged. That's nice. That's really nice. Interesting. Consumer Reports, I don't know if this hurt the Father's Day sale of the Kindle, for the first time ever gave the Nook their #1 rating at just above the Kindle. The Barnes & Noble Nook Simple Touch Reader is the new Consumer Reports best reader.
Yeah, that thing looks great. I haven't used it yet, but they did e-ink and its touchscreen, which is pretty amazing.
How do they do that?
And I don't know. I mean, the reports, the few reviews I've read of it said it works great. And Amazon absolutely has to match that very soon. Obviously, Consumer Reports is one thing saying that this is better, but other places have been saying that this is the absolute future of this e-ink technology. The question is, Amazon's been rumored for some time now by the end of this year to come out with a whole slew of tablets. Maybe an Android-based one, and then but they'll probably keep a dedicated e-reader one, and they absolutely have to match that feature now, I think.
No one would ever bet on Barnes & Noble beating Amazon in the long run.
Yeah,
I didn't think Barnes & Noble was going to go anywhere with the Nook, especially after seeing the first Nook, which was god-awful, I guess, is really the only word I can think. Right. My mom had one, and I've never seen her so frustrated with the device, and I've never been so frustrated with the device. And
that was the one with the color strip at the bottom and then the e-ink above it. Was that it?
Yeah, it was ludicrous. It couldn't get online. It was impossible. I mean, it was just a terrible device. And it was so unintuitive. It was just shocking. It was like worse than a BlackBerry Storm. But the new one is, that new Nook with the touchscreen e-ink screen is fantastic. That's actually what I would get if I were upgrading right now.
Interesting.
Although I think maybe Amazon has a slightly better book selection right now.
Well, one of the pluses that Consumer Reports cites is that you can there's support for e-book loans from public libraries. I will never understand this, because if you get it, you can buy an e-book, but if you get it from the library, like it expires after 2 weeks, like a regular library book, like there's a limited supply.
Right.
It's
kind of weird.
It seems antiquated.
Yeah, and then can you just rent it again? Do you have to wait like a certain amount of time?
Yeah, then you go back to the library and you say, I want to renew it. You're going to renew my ebook? It's dumb. But I think it's the publishers, right? That's probably who's demanding.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
They're free.
They're free.
Like, isn't that still maybe the best model to get a book for free if you're going to borrow it?
Yeah.
I know it seems weird to borrow, although really, you're borrowing a lot of digital content when you stream it or you use any kind of subscription service. It seems okay to me that that's a free one.
It just feels strange. It's like, I understood that I had to return the book because the library only had a limited number of copies. Mm-hmm. That kind of made sense to me. I guess I was returning the book for the wrong reason. Apparently, according to Reuters, there's a big issue with spam on the Kindle. The self-published ebooks apparently are jammed with thousands of books that are crap or advertising or you know, nothing.
It's kind of a scam, right? People are buying these DVDs full of just shovelware books and throwing them up and trying to get 99 cents a piece for them.
And there is books, but they're copies. It
seems to be just
in some cases
freeware
they're just flat out
junk.
rip-offs of other books, and then in other cases they're just kind of random content. Not there, you know, it's not fake content necessarily.
It's just a big lorem ipsum.
Ripped off.
Yeah.
Lorem ipsum.
Yeah, over and over again. It's do-it-yourself spam. I bet people are making money on it. I mean, that actually really, more than anything, shows that there's a good market for ebooks.
It's a shame, though, because I think the self-publishing model is one that is delicate.
I agree,
and it's the kind of thing where if the consumer starts to distrust that,
right,
it results in a lot of people who really would benefit from having their work read not getting that exposure anymore.
And it casts a pall on the idea of doing it at all. You know, if you were an author who was just starting to get into the idea of self-publishing, it's kind of like, you know, when online dating was sort of the ghetto thing to do.
Right.
And people start to feel like, oh, self-publishing is just in the same bucket as spam all the time. It will kind of kill. I mean, I hope Amazon snaps to and starts doing some quality control to combat this problem quickly.
Did you get an auto reminder from Google Chat, by the way, to call Dad?
I have one. I have one staring me in the face right now.
So they actually did that?
You better get on that.
Yeah. If you have the GChat thing open up in either Gmail or iGoogle or one of the things, right under your main status message, you know, they have the phone call feature thing. I think you have to install a plugin to actually get it to work, but it says right under there, a reminder, call Dad, period.
They added it to your task list.
They had it on the homepage too, underneath the doodle.
It says
said,
call Dad?
However you call him, or, you know, make something about your dad, and then make sure you call him on Google.
You feel like this is like Larry Page has some guilt going on or something, and this is just is just manifesting this. I mean,
I think that if more women worked at that company, it would pop up with call mom, but not just on Mother's Day, just randomly all the time.
Call your mother. She's waiting. When's the last time you called? How long before Google starts monitoring how often you call your mom?
I would like that, actually. That would help.
You haven't called your mother in 3 days, 14 hours, and 23 minutes.
I wish my iPhone just wouldn't work until I call my mom.
I think your mom wishes that as well, Jeff.
Yeah.
I think you better start calling her.
I try to turn on Twitter, and my Twitter app won't load unless I call Mom first. I think that would be better.
I tell my mom, just watch TWiT Live. I'm thinking of you.
Yeah.
And that way. Yeah, she actually does. She watches TWiT Live. So I'm just looking at my chat. I didn't get that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they know something about you, MG, that...
They might. I haven't called my dad yet, so I do have to do that. So
you see?
Yeah, right.
What? Never mind. I was going to tell a joke, but I'll leave that out. We'll be back in just a moment. I want to talk a little bit about backing up your data. This is what you should do. You should call your dad and say, Dad, have you backed up your data lately? I actually talked to my dad last week, and I asked him about, believe it or not, this is the kind of conversation. So tell me about your backup strategy, Father. And he didn't have a very good one. He really didn't. He said, well, I have this USB key, and every once in a while I put it in my computer and I copy something onto it. Dad, you need Carbonite.com. I want you all to tell your dads about Carbonite.com. It's backup done right. It's for several reasons. First, it's automatic, so you don't have to think about it. It's all the time. As long as you're online, it's backing up. So you don't ever get behind. You know, once you get that first backup done, you're gonna always have copies of everything. It does some nice stuff, like you can always visit your data. It's not, it's available online even before a disaster happens. You just log into your Carbonite account from any computer or your iPhone or your iPad or your Android phone or your BlackBerry, and there's your stuff. You can turn on encryption, so only you can see the data. You control the passkey. And, of course, they always use 128-bit SSL, so it's always secure as your files go back and forth. And restore is very simple. You're just a click of the mouse away. Best part is this is not expensive. For a PC or a Mac, unlimited backup of your internal drive, everything on your laptop, for instance, just $59 a year, 16 cents a day. And if you use my name, or actually our name, TWiT, when you sign up, you can get 2 extra months. Just get 14 months for the price of 12. So here's what you do. Go to Carbonite.com and do the free 2-week trial just to see if you like it. Use the offer code TWiT. You don't need a credit card, just TWiT. After 2 weeks, if you decide you want it, you can continue the backup that you began with those 2 weeks and extend it for 14 months for the price of 12 if you use the offer code TWiT. Carbonite. It's backup done right. You got to back it up to get it back, so do it right with Carbonite. So the lulls go on and on and on. Sega's been hacked. Hackers stole data of... you got to wonder if this is... Jeff, is this related, you think, to the Sony hacks? Or do you just hackers figure, let's go after all the game machines?
Yeah, I think it's the floodgates opened up, and it's like, oh, let's do it. That seemed like fun.
1.29 million customers, personal data, email addresses, dates of birth. However, Sega says payment information is safe.
It's interesting to me, there's so many of these companies that are getting into the e-commerce scene. Brick and mortar has been not the preferred method from publishers for a long time now, and I think that that's only going to continue, and more of these companies are having their own dedicated online services, and it's interesting that as we get more different kinds of companies offering that kind of service to the user, having your data with all these different companies, they're opening themselves up to that kind of attack, and where selling stuff in a brick and mortar store or having only a few companies that you give your money to, like an Amazon or whatever, they sort of offload that responsibility to a third party. And you saw EA having this weird thing this week with Steam, where some of their titles were having to be taken off and put back on because there's competing sites all trying to have exclusive to games. So having more different places where your data is stored, I think, is a liability to the companies. I mean, the companies themselves are taking on that responsibility rather than having a storefront do it.
I do like this, though. It was not Lulzsec that did this. The people who claim responsibility for the PlayStation hack. In fact, Lulzsec on their Twitter feed said, "Hey, that's not right." They say, "We want to help you destroy the hackers that attacked you, Sega. We love the Dreamcast."
So childish, right?
Those people are going down, it says.
It's because the Dreamcast has some kind of weird deep street cred.
It does. People love the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
They still love
really
the Dreamcast. That's just
it's such a childish mentality, right? It's like, oh, we like Dreamcast. You guys are good. Sony's evil. It's bizarre.
Molly?
And they claim responsibility for hacking Nintendo. Like, Nintendo, the sweet puppy of the game world, is eminently hackable, but like Sega's off limits?
Apparently.
This is 13-year-old logic at work.
Yeah. I'm not going to say anything bad about Lulzsec. I love them.
I've been calling puppy kickers on my lately. I'm flirting with disaster, I know.
I love them. I love the Dreamcast. I still have mine somewhere. Now, somebody, I don't know if this is true. Somebody in the chat room a couple of hours ago said that Mt. Gox had been hacked. It has. It's been hacked as well. That's good news. So,
MT Gox. What?
MT Gox, that's the Bitcoin exchange.
No, I know. Why is it good news?
No, it's bad news.
Oh, it's bad news. Yes.
First of all, we heard that somebody had, I don't know how they had $500,000 worth of Bitcoins. But apparently somebody had $500,000 worth of Bitcoins in their account. Last Monday, those 25,000 Bitcoins were transferred from 478 accounts on Mt. Gox. And now Mt. Gox is admitting to a major breach and is shut down.
Yeah, I just got an email from them about that, actually.
Are you a Bitcoiner?
Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing. I've been trying to ride the Bitcoin bubble, and it takes forever to set up your Dwala account and then transfer money into your Dwala account and then transfer money from your Dwala account to your MT Gox account. And so as I'm going through this entire process, the Bitcoin crash happens and it goes from 30 to 11, and I'm like, yeah, score. And then the next thing I know, I finally get it all transferred in, and I go to log in today. And I've got this, there's a note right at the front that says they've suspended trading. It was a huge sell-off. It went down to a penny.
What? It got as low as a penny?
Yeah.
It was $30.
I know. But they suspended trading. They said they're going to return it to $17 once they deal with what they think is a Trojan. They actually think that the
stealing wallet debts.
Yeah, and that they think maybe the 25,000 coins that were taken, I think originally it was reported they were on a laptop, and now it sounds like they're blaming a Trojan for that.
Right. So this is a flaw in Bitcoin. You have a wallet.dat file that has your wallet. It's just sitting there on your hard drive, and you're supposed to back it up. If you don't, there goes your money. And if somebody steals it, I guess they could steal your money. So a little flaw. You don't be any flaw.
It's a volatile marketplace at the moment. I would not recommend putting like a ton of money in there.
Wow. So,
I'm still going to do it, though.
are you?
I'm not going to put a ton of money in there, but yeah, I'm going to do it.
Well, so I've been running a Bitcoin server for a few months, and I got nothing.
You're farming.
I've been farming. But, you know, Steve Gibson ran it, and like in 3 days, he got 50 coins. So, I don't know. The Bitcoin will be back to around $17.50 per Bitcoin after we roll back all trades. See this? Okay, I'm sorry, but that's it. All confidence is gone if they can even do that. They're going to roll back all trades that happened this morning.
What's concerning about that is that they had a massive sell-off, and then I'm sure that they had a ton of people who bought in.
Right.
Thinking, damn, I'm going to get in at $2 or a penny or whatever, which I would have done if I weren't getting a pedicure. I mean, I have my priorities in order.
Absolutely.
But,
absolutely.
But it does seem a little concerning that they can be like, you know what, we're darknet rules up in here, so
Yeah, we'll make it up. We're making it up.
You can't have that Bitcoin.
So if you go to Bitcoin, that's what they have. They have basically a blog post. That's it. I mean, not Bitcoin, Mt. Gox. So we should explain. Mt. Gox is a exchange, but there are many exchanges. Bitcoin has no central server, no centralized anything. It's very strange. And then, of course, if you go to the Silk Road, oh, you can buy all sorts of stuff with Bitcoin. Seeds, stems, whatever you want.
It's not just for Los Drogas. It's a backup currency for when the infopocalypse comes.
Is that what you're planning for?
Yeah. I don't want the darknet to leave me behind.
No. No.
Maybe I can buy their love with Bitcoin. Save me, darknet, from the infopocalypse.
You can buy you can buy just about anything on Silk Road with Bitcoin. Is that what you're saving up for?
Actually, there are a bunch of different sites now and people who are accepting payment in Bitcoin.
Really? See, that's the thing. Until I can use it for something I want. I think
like EFF, I want to say, or Epic, one or both of those is accepting donations in Bitcoin now. Yeah. There are various tech consultants who are accepting their fees in Bitcoin.
Is this kind of like the digital equivalent of at the roller rink when you had the skee ball tickets?
Yes, exactly.
And you're like, oh man, I really want the boom box, but it's like 500,000 tickets. Like only I can just keep playing skee ball for 27 years.
Kind of like that. It is becoming an interesting alternate. It's interesting just as an experiment, right? Because it has become an alternate economy.
Well, and it's annoying the Senate, which I think is great.
It's what?
It annoys the Senate, the U.S. Senate. 2 senators in the U.S. Senate have demanded, after looking at Silk Road, and I don't know how they found it. You have to be running Tor even to look at it. So somebody must have shown them a picture. But after looking at Silk Road, they say, oh, my God, it's drugs. And they're actually trying to ban Bitcoin. They want to ban Bitcoin.
Well, and I don't think they want to ban it for the drug reasons. I think they want to ban it because, I mean, Bitcoin is fundamentally anarchic at nature, right? The idea is that it's an alternate system of currency that will undermine the global banking system, right? Like that is the hope of the decentralized kind of darknet. And that is potentially terrifying, I guess, if it takes off.
Sounds like something John C. Dvorak and Adam Curry thought up. That's all I can say.
I bet they're all over Bitcoin.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Are they, John? Yes. Yes. They're trying to bury it in their backyard, and they haven't figured out a way to do it. But any day now. Now I tried to download the database of the lulzsec database and search for my name, but the last time I checked, I couldn't get it. Has anybody done that? There's like a 24 megabyte download.
No. I just assume they have it.
Just assume they have it, right? Yeah.
Somebody
I got when I had after the Sony hack, they shut down my credit card. My credit card company shut it down, and
Really?
Yeah, they wouldn't tell me specifically that it was Sony, but I got a message from Sony saying that my data was one of the ones compromised. So I'm sure that's exactly what it was.
Oh, this is interesting. I guess I tried to download it and I couldn't find it. Now there is a widget online. This is from cloudcontrolled.com. Has lulzsec leaked your personal details? So I'm going to type in Leo at leoville.com and I will check. Let's see. My details have not been leaked. Anybody want to check?
No.
This is lulzsec.cloudcontrolled.com. So you could see whether they know. Who are these people?
We actually got a call on our show on Buzz Out Loud from a guy in Trinidad who, bless his heart, took it upon himself in some kind of fit of Boy Scout behavior to call a woman who was on the list, who he did not know.
Wow.
And tell her that her information had been compromised and she should do something.
Hello, I'm calling from Trinidad and you are in trouble, lady.
Yeah,
Are you the prince that I sent my money to? I'm so happy you're calling.
He goes, she got kind of scared. She put her kid on the phone.
I don't understand this tech stuff. Let me give you my son.
Why are you calling me?
Why are you bugging me? Go away.
I'm trying to help you. Your account's been compromised.
Yeah. Samsung says, we know, Apple, you stole the idea for our new Nexus for your iPhone 5. Any credibility to that? Where do you now? I know, MG, that you probably following this very closely.
I've been watching some of this whole thing is actually kind of funny. It's Samsung demanding to see the iPhone 5, the iPad 3.
I love that. Yeah.
Like there's any way in hell Apple's going to let them see that, and then of course Apple coming back at them now and saying, actually, your 3 most recent devices are also copycats of our devices. So they just keep piling this on there and just going back and forth. This is fun to watch. Yeah.
Apple says Samsung's an even bigger copycat than we thought. They've amended their original complaint, and now they just call Samsung the copyist.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. They've barely stayed out of the sandbox with that one. Barely.
You're a copyist. Stop copying me. I don't know. I hate to even cover these lawsuits because they're going to go on for years and we never will know.
And then they'll settle. They always settle.
Right.
Some kind of settlement happening. Yeah.
New York Post doing something not surprising considering it's, the New York Post and Rupert Murdoch. They're actually blocking iPad Safari visitors. When you try to go to the New York Post online using a browser on the iPad, it says...
Using only one specific browser.
Right, because you can still use Skyfire and the other ones. It says, hey, you should be using our app instead. That's just so broken. It's just so crazy.
That is the nightmare future of device.
It is, isn't it?
The whole idea of the daily is absolutely terrifying to me because it just encourages people to balkanize their content and break the web.
Why would you even do that? I mean, doesn't it just turn away traffic? Do you think that sells iPad apps? I don't think so. I'm not going to go, oh, gosh, I should have bought the Post iPad app.
Well, if they have some huge story, then yes, maybe that people absolutely want to get to, and they have they have this exclusive info on it. Then yeah, maybe that will help. But otherwise, no. Like today, they don't have anything big that I know of anyway. That's not going to help them sell the app any. But a good counter argument to that is what I think Fortune did when they had supposedly that inside look in Apple, and they sold it only in their app at first.
That was awesome, and you're right. That was smart because I almost bought the Fortune app because of that.
I think a lot of people did because of that. I don't know. If
it was $4.99, right? You had to buy that issue
of
Fortune.
Right, right. Yeah. I think a lot of people did. And, you know, in that regard, maybe that model works, but is that really, is it scalable, you know, to every kind of thing? I mean, this is all about getting information then, of course, and then you would have to be able to time it correctly if you had like a big exclusive story, and then you would release it first via the app or another mechanism, payment mechanism, paywall or whatever. But I'm just not sure that there's enough of that information out there that would be, people would be willing to pay that much for, that it would scale, like, you know, to enough to make an actual business out of that model.
I just find it annoying.
I'm very curious to see how many people actually bought the Fortune app because of that. I mean, I think a lot of people almost did, but knowing how long exclusives last, I don't think that is a sustainable or good way to disseminate information.
I resented it. I resented it so much that I only, you know, I wanted to read it. I really wanted to read that article, and I didn't buy it. Because I resented it so much.
I did buy it, and I'm sure you read it after the fact. It wasn't worth $5. I mean, there was some good info there. It was an interesting read, but there wasn't any new information besides some of the executive team.
So if you trick somebody into spending $4.99, you better damn well have $4.99 worth of something there, or you're really never going to get money from them again.
Yeah,
that's even worse. Speaking of never getting money,
is if you have $4.99 of something there.
Say again.
And if you do have $4.99 worth of something there, then maybe it's like a Watergate story, in which case it would be totally unconscionable and the worst sort of journalism to hide it behind a paywall and sort of trickle it out. I mean, anything that you're trying to trickle out is just something that you're proud of. It's kind of an ego play.
That's a good point.
And nobody should have to pay for that. If you're in the business of disseminating information, then just get it out there.
That's a very good point.
I don't like it. I don't like
it one bit. Speaking of what you don't like, okay, so let's. We didn't get the review of Duke Nukem Forever. Great game.
Yeah, you can avoid it.
Worth waiting 14 years for?
To be quite honest with you, I have not played the whole thing. I played enough of it at preview events to know that it wasn't going to be my cup of tea, and there were enough exciting games coming out this week that we skipped it for TRS. But
really?
Yeah, Child of Eden came out the same day, and it's a pretty interesting game. But yeah, Duke is. It's sad. You know, it seems like Gearbox really wanted to make a Duke Nukem game, and I think there's a lot of speculation that the next Duke Nukem game will be the game that they wanted to make. But this one just sort of had to come out in order to get that franchise off the ground. I think it could have been a really interesting franchise to look at in a kind of ironic, self-aware way, where we have this kind of anachronistic character who behaves in a way that doesn't really fit in modern times.
No,
you know, he's sort of that Arnold Schwarzenegger brash guy. And this game seems to take itself very seriously, and in a way that people don't really appreciate anymore.
It also sounded gross. I mean, just too many penis and poop jokes. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, there's a game that came out last year called Bulletstorm that was crass and over the top in a similarly juvenile way, and it was really kind of funny and self-aware and interesting and ironic, and I think pretty well written, and could have been a similarly off-putting kind of experience, but wasn't. And it's too bad that Duke Nukem, which has the sort of marquee value that Bulletstorm did not have, was that off-putting experience.
Here's a Child of Eden. What is this game?
It's sort of the first real hardcore game for the Kinect. It's a
so there I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm touching fish. Ooh, jellyfish. Now what?
There's this designer named Tetsuya Mizuguchi, and he's done a few games, one of which is called Rez, which is sort of a Dreamcast era shooter that has a lot of geek cred. And this is kind of a spiritual successor to that. It's an on-rails shooter where you actually can control it with the Kinect, moving your hands across targets, painting targets, and then you shoot your hand out in front of you to release your laser beams, and then you use your other hand to shoot a different kind of weapon. So you're really playing physically with the game, but it's a shooter, and it works really, really well.
This cutscene we're watching, is this anything to do with the gameplay, or is it just...
Yeah, I mean, that guy is acting a little more intensely than one might, but it's definitely the concept of the game. Yeah, you are controlling the game physically. It's like Lawnmower Man.
That sounds like fun. I want to play
manifestation of a Lawnmower Man, you know?
Yeah.
Plus, that is visually stunning.
It's pretty.
Mesmerized.
Oh, it's gorgeous. And
mouth was hanging open like a dork.
Yeah, the cool thing too is that it's integrated with music. The music in the game is really created by your movements and your the shooting of different targets. So you're creating the rhythm and the beat of the music as you play, which is something that designer has been doing for a long time. He did Space Channel 5, which sort of was the first dance rhythm game, and Lumines, which was another music integrated into puzzle game. It's really, really spectacular to watch, and the Kinect integration works really well.
Oh,
but it doesn't require Kinect either.
I have to try. Oh, you don't? You could use
No, you can play it with a controller if you only have that.
I'll have to try. That looks very. I like it. It looks innovative, which is great.
It really is. I think it's the first proof that technology can work for a more hardcore audience.
Yeah. You think Kinect's been casual gamers mostly?
Up to this point, yeah, they've only really had those mini game collections and the jump around your room and be silly kind of family stuff, which is fine, and it has proven to sell very, very well. But the hardcore has been asking, where's our game with this tech?
Right.
And I think Child of Eden is the first of those, and they showed more at E3 as well.
We, at E3, saw the Nintendo Wii U, which won't be out till next year, a tablet, kind of Kindle-sized tablet with controls on it, accelerometer, and a gyroscope, touch screen. What do you think?
I was kind of perplexed by the messaging of their unveiling of that device, but after I got my hands on it, I was a little more sold on the idea. It's pretty fun. What they were showing so far are these games where you can have a solo experience on the screen in front of you while other people are having a different experience on your television. And for that kind of party environment, which is kind of how the original Wii works as best as well, it's really fun. It remains to be seen how that's going to be used in just single-player experiences. Ubisoft was showing a shooter that was built for the device that, where you kind of looked through your screen to shoot and use the accelerometer and gyroscope to aim. And I don't think that's going to be a sustainable application for the tech, but it'll be interesting to see what other kind of weird things they have in mind for this device. It really is the DS for the home. You have this second
Well, that's
screen.
what it reminded me of, is of the DS, because you had two screens. Yeah,
and I think there's going to be a lot of DS games that will be ported into HD and turned. That kind of experience will be translated into a bigger palette.
I have to say I was so sad. Changing the subject a little bit, I went to YouTube to watch Rebecca Black's Friday, and I got this message.
As you do every Friday.
Yeah. No, I do it. It's a Friday tradition. I make the staff listen to it. Rebecca Black, Friday. This video is no longer available due to a copyright claim by Rebecca Black. What?
That girl is cashing in.
Is she cashing in?
I think so. I mean, it showed up on Friday, appropriately enough, on Vivu.
Ah, so if you really have to watch it.
Yeah, isn't she
I think also
about
that
2 months too late to
posted
fashion?
by her. Like, I'm assuming they have a better rev share deal, and she's decided it's time
She's in minute 19 of her 15 minutes of fame.
But how many views does it have right now? 180 million? Is that what it is at? Something like that?
I don't think there's anybody left to view it. I think it's too late for rev share at this point.
Everybody's seen it who wants to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why bother at that point?
Maybe you want to ask Alexia Totsis why she says she misses it, MG. You might just, corner her and say.
Yes, I would like to get an answer to that question.
She says she's missing it. She's the one who caught it.
She needs to know what day comes after Friday, and she can't.
Every once in a while, I need to know that. Yeah,
Can't think, and I can never remember what it is I'm supposed to do on Friday. Oh, party.
Party. I can never decide what car to go in. How come we know this song too freaking well? That's my.
You know what it is? Because some of the remakes have been.
Oh yes.
Actually, the Stephen Colbert version.
Oh, awesome.
Catchy. I kind of love that song.
Awesome.
Also, what's there to know? It's like it's
That's
not
true.
a difficult song to remember.
There's like 3 concepts in it. And Friday is what you're supposed to do on Friday.
The order of the days of the week.
We know the 7 words. we all watched the Hitler Reacts version.
Yeah, that was inevitable. What does he say? The 3 people who haven't seen this video stay here. Everybody else leave the room. Something like that. Apparently, Netflix is doing better than even Sony thought. Sony had a deal with the Stars channel for Netflix streaming, And everybody freaked out the other day when Sony's movies were suddenly pulled from Netflix streaming. Well, it turns out Sony says, well, Starz reached the limit on the number of times those movies could be viewed. So we got to revise our deal. Whoops.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Crazy.
It is so exhausting at this point. Like, get on the stick, and then your method of dealing with that discovery
Just
that
pull them down.
Wildly popular on Netflix is to disappear the content from Netflix like you're some sort of dumbass mafia.
Yeah.
Everybody out of the pool.
Yeah.
That's it.
We're taking our ball and going home. This post on Friday from Netflix VP of Content Acquisition, Pauline Fisher. You may have noticed Sony movies are not available. This is a result of a temporary contract issue between Sony and Starz. And while these two valued partners work through their differences, we want you to look at The Fighter, Skyline, and Iron Man 2, as well as the first 4 seasons of Mad Men. Please. Please. Please.
The next few weeks.
Please watch those movies instead.
That's troubling, though. I mean, this is going to happen all the time as Netflix continues to grow and get more popular. It's the same thing with the Rebecca Black thing. These guys split now so they can get a better, better licensing agreement with
Hey, MG, unplug your headset and plug it back in. The show has been on for exactly 1 hour. I don't know. There's some bug. There's some memory leak in one of the chips. There, in Skype. Now plug it back in.
Yeah.
It's all better.
Every time. I need to get when we go off the air or whatever, you should recommend to me.
I'm going to send you one. I'll send you one. We got one right here. We'll give you a much better one.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, you sound good. It sounds good. It's just after exactly 1 hour, it starts doing that. It's so strange.
I know. It's weird.
Really weird. I want to take a break, and then we're going to talk about IPOs. Oh, how exciting. And the tech bubble and Pandora and Groupon and all of that stuff. MG Siegler is here from TechCrunch.com. He's Paris Lemon on the Instagram. And the very odd picture on Instagram last night.
Oh, yeah, the one in the
graffiti,
restroom.
the graffiti restroom. Sarah outed you, by the way. I didn't know what you were up to until she said something.
That was not cool.
Not cool.
No.
I love it when couples bicker on social media. So cute. Also here, Molly Wood, her triumphant return to the TWiT network. Yay! From CNET, and actually a big shakeup at CNET. I guess Dan Farber's come back, and you have a new boss at CBS Interactive from Clicker.com.
We have a new GM for the kind of the CNET tech business and news organization. Dan Farber's coming back to head the news organization. Yeah, we've had a lot of changes. It's all very positive, actually. We got a bunch of content guys at the top now, which is kind of thrilling.
Love that. It's kind of a reset, isn't it, to the way it was before CBS bought CNET?
I mean, the Farber part is. I don't think that overall it's going to feel like a reset in a couple more months.
Oh, that sounds like something exciting is about to happen.
That is all I can say.
Is Katie Couric going to host Buzz Out Loud? Come on, you can tell us.
Dead body, Katie.
I know where Oprah's going.
Let me just say, Scott Pelley's got a little target on his back.
Also great to have Jeff Canata back. Actually, I just realized it was a year that you were on last time. It was a year ago, and we got to get you on more often than that. That's crazy.
I would love that, yeah.
That's crazy talk. And now he's somehow merged with Molly, which is really...
I had a dream about this.
I pushed a button somewhere and everything's broken.
Awesome.
Wow. Whoa. Now it's me. Molly, you seem to be stuck in my... push a... Ah! Ah!
This is like what their babies look like game.
This is really weird.
This is not supposed to happen, boys and girls. All right.
Time again for that famous TWiT game show, If They Made It.
If they made it. Well, I think we now know. In no case should you guys mate. Let's briefly talk about our great friends at Squarespace.com. Version 6 is coming so soon, and I'm so excited. You're going to love it. Now, so what is Squarespace? It is web hosting of the best web hosting out there, by the way. They use a really sophisticated virtual server technology to make sure you're always online, always reliable. It's just the uptime is amazing. But then plus a great content management system. They say it's the secret behind exceptional websites. I'd have to agree. We use it for our Inside Twit blog, and it's just fantastic. If you're looking to set up a website, maybe you're a photographer and you want to have a photo gallery, or you want to set up a forum, they have forum software, or just, you know, a site that everybody should have their own personal site. A site that links to your social media contacts and so forth. This is a great way to do it. The deal is, if you go right now to Squarespace, go right to the squarespace.com and click the Try It Free button. And you'll see for 2 weeks free, you can set up a site. All you need is, you don't need a credit card or anything, just the site login, the password, and the email address, and just create your site. If you decide to buy, great deal on this thing. Now, this is something new that we just started. Normally $12 a month, or you buy more time and it's less, but you'll get 30% off the first 3 months when you use the offer code TWIT6. So I really want you to do that. 30% off for the first 3 months of your new account. Squarespace.com. Sign up and use the offer code TWIT6. You'll be able to use these great Squarespace templates, which will get you up and running. And customization is so simple. I'll show you with the social media widgets. You just if you look at it here, here's the Flickr widget. You just put the widget on there. You put the pictures on here. You can do sliders. It's completely customizable. Same thing for Twitter, for Facebook. They've even got an RSS widget, so you can put any arbitrary feed in there. But that's just an example. It's just point and click simple. And then you get these great-looking sites. All you have to do is look at the example sites to get an idea of what a Squarespace site can look like. Just amazing stuff. $12 a year, or although you could save up to 20% by subscribing for longer. And I have to say, $12 a month, I should say. Oh, look.
Hey, there's a Totally Red show.
Hey, what the heck is that? This gives you an idea of how powerful this is, because, I mean, you guys get a lot of hits, and this thing just totally handles it. And, of course, you can embed stuff, and look, you could buy stuff. Hey, you won a Webby Award a couple of years ago. That's nice.
You sure did, yeah.
There's that silly Alex Albrecht, that funny Danny, and then Jeff. Aren't they a sweet, sweet pair? Wait a minute. Danny hasn't tweeted in a month.
May not have updated.
Loser! Okay. Anyway, squarespace.com, and I think if you go to squarespace.com/twit, and then you could, of course, create your own site very simply, very easily. I'm a big Squarespace fan. There they are. Aren't they cute? Give it a try today. Squarespace.com/twit. It's a secret behind exceptional websites. You probably have your own Squarespace code, Jeff Canata. I bet you do.
We do, yes. And my personal site's on Squarespace. I love it.
Is it?
I
Yeah.
love the app integration.
The iPad and the iPhone apps are fantastic.
Yeah, they're great.
I was just, it's funny. We had a call on the radio show today with, I felt sorry for the poor guy. Had an iWeb site, right? And he said, well, what's going to happen? And I had to tell him, in June 2012, you won't have a site anymore. Apple's just going to...
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Not only they're going to... And the problem with iWeb is, it's not like you can then use some other tool. You've designed something that's completely incompatible with the rest of the world. And so what I want to do is, and I gotta call Dane and Anthony over there at Squarespace. They would do so well if they would write an iWeb importer tool.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a good idea.
Wouldn't that be brilliant? And
Yeah.
just say, look, we'll host it. You push a button, it gets your site over here, looks the same, hosting, done.
They have an importer tool for a lot of other ones, don't they?
Yeah.
WordPress and all those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, this might be a chance to save Posterous, because I'm a big Posterous fan. I think Tumblr is just eating their lunch. And didn't Posterous for a while Posterous do like they would have an importer a day?
Yeah, they pissed off a lot of
they did.
a lot of their competitors, because they did it with Tumblr, they did it with WordPress, and they would make it as easy as possible. And it was, in some cases, just one click of a button to move everything over that you had. So,
I loved that. Maybe they should. Maybe they should do an iWeb importer.
maybe they should.
All right, Pandora IPO this week. Both the Pandora and Groupon have something in common. Neither of them are well. Is Groupon profitable, or are they spending every penny they make? They're spending every penny they make, aren't they?
Yeah, Yeah, they're underwater quite a bit because of their international spending right now.
Right.
Pandora was, I think, profitable for a little bit, but they've since dipped below.
And they're going to go worse
also.
because it's going to cost them more and more for the music.
Yeah, they've really got to, of course they say that they're working on things and they have it figured out, but it is a problem. The more popular they become, the more costly it is for them to run their business because they have to pay these royalty fees to all the labels.
So Pandora did an IPO. They were priced at $16. That was the price that if you were an institutional investor, you had friends in Wall Street, whatever, you could get it for $16.
Right.
Opens at 20. Now, if you were smart, you sold it immediately. It closed at $17.42. It is now down, I think, $13, something like that. It's below. It's under its opening price considerably.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Pandora's been really interesting compared to what happened to LinkedIn. LinkedIn, obviously, when they IPO'd, it exploded, and people were like, "Oh my God!" This went across the board. It went from everyone saying times are great to this is the definite indication of another bubble happening right now. I think the Pandora thing is actually, in many ways, good. What's been happening because it shows that people aren't just going crazy over this stuff right now. There is actually
some thinking,
some sanity and some thinking going on to the way this should be. When Pandora first put out their S1 filing to go public, I think the initial price that they had was something like $8, and they upped it a little bit to $11 before finally doing the $16 price that they eventually opened with. But so it's not like they knew too, like maybe it should be a little bit lower, and they were just kind of reacting to, I guess, the way that the market was shaping up at the time. But I think it's good, if they stay in kind of this $10 to $20 range, which seems reasonable.
What's going to happen with Groupon?
I would hope that something similar happens with Groupon, actually, because they're in a little bit of a similar boat in that they have an easily replicatable business idea that, in fact, they have competitors coming out of the woodworks. If Spotify ends up here within the next few weeks, like it looks like they finally might, I'm sorry, not Spotify. Living Social is, I was going back
Spotify's Pandora.
It's literally confusing my bubblicious IPOs at the moment.
There's so many bubbles, so little time.
But
you're right. Anybody could do a Groupon. But there is, I hear people say there's this low barrier to entry. But one of the things you have to do, and look at Groupon, you have to hire a lot of salespeople because you got local salespeople everywhere. I don't know if it's that low.
Yes, their strength is the feet on the ground, right? Is they've got that built-in sales force.
Right. They have, I think, it's 7,000 salespeople or something like that.
That sort of feels like a web van. Like, that's just not that sustainable. Whereas if Facebook and Living Social with the huge Amazon capital and then Google start to roll out these, very similar services, not only do they not have to pay to acquire users, but they have built-in sales forces.
So you say that it's the barrier to entry for me is not low because I'd have to hire 7,000 salespeople, but there are companies on the ground like Facebook and Google who already have people in place.
Yeah.
They can do it.
And Amazon is rightly pouring money into Living Social, so they're at least, they're not digging themselves into as much of an investor hole.
Right.
Yeah, at the same time, I mean, I just think that a lot of, obviously there was so much love for Groupon to begin with as it was exploding. And now there was this huge backlash against it, of course, leading up to the IPO and all the talk about, they're losing a lot of money. I do think that there is still something to be said, that these guys running it did a pretty smart thing. They really opened this market, and now everyone is trying to copy it, of course, which is a problem. But I think that they have other ideas about what they want to do. I think one of the mistakes that they've made has been trying to so aggressively go with this international stuff, and that's where they've been losing so much money. They're basically break even in the United States right now, but overseas they're losing hundreds of millions of dollars every quarter because they're trying to expand to combat would-be Chinese replicants of the model or Japanese, whatever. So
I would say stay out of the international market because you're an American company, don't you? Aren't you at a disadvantage? Look what Google's at a disadvantage in China. Baidu just eats their lunch because there's a cultural difference.
And I think we're seeing that now. I think Sarah Lacey for TechCrunch wrote an article about this either this week or last week, talking about how they realize that they now have to kind of scale back the amount of spending that they've been doing internationally, and hopefully they're able to do that before the IPO. So.
Right. One thing that kind of bugged me a little bit is how much money Groupon founders took off the table from their venture round.
That's the other really interesting thing here, and that's what's also led to a lot of this backlash.
It's like 96%.
Right, people talking about it being a Ponzi scheme because, you know, like everyone's just pouring money into this thing while the founders are the ones getting paid for this. They can take all that money off the table.
They've got an interesting challenge now because they haven't announced the timing for their IPO, Groupon. It could be sooner or it could be later, and now they have to think, boy, I think the Pandora slump might have scared them a little bit.
Sure.
They're looking at LinkedIn and saying, yeah, we want that, and then Pandora,
Yeah, I mean, I still think that they have to do it relatively soon. They, you know, Living Social's talking about doing it as well, so they want to get out there, I think, as quickly as they can. Still
interesting. My advice: stay out of the tech stock market. But who knows? I don't know. It just seems like you could lose your shirt in this stuff.
Well, it's going to go really crazy when Facebook files to go public.
That's what this is all leading up to, isn't it?
Right.
Just last week, though, or maybe the week before, there was a story about how tech stocks in general are about as low as they've been since 2002, I think. So there's some argument to be made for the possibility that some tech stocks are underpriced. I think maybe don't go crazy in the IPO market, but I think there's probably some good buys out there that I can't participate in.
Right.
At least I'll be saved from, losing I'm going to go ahead and lose my shirt on Bitcoin instead of tech stocks.
So here's the good news. Geeks who use social networks have more real friends. The Pew Center for Studying of America and the Internet, or whatever the hell it's called, surveyed 2,255 American adults last fall, found that of 1,787 internet users, 47% use a social networking service, 92% Facebook, 18% LinkedIn, Twitter 13%, 29% MySpace. So then they asked people how they use their services, and they found that compared to a study that they conducted 2 years earlier, twice as many people are using social networks as before, and that Americans report an average of just over two close friends, which is an increase of over 2008. So that's good news. Many of us have two friends now. We only had one and a fraction before. Those who use social networks have even more friends, 2.45 friends. Or maybe they just think these people are their friends. That's probably...
I think the point is that it's not just geeks using social media anymore.
It's normal people now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
The geeks haven't gotten any more friends. It's that the people with friends have become tech users.
I was getting my hopes up.
You have to be wildly unsocial, antisocial even, to stay off of the social networks and insist that you're just not going to have any damn friends at all.
Oh, that's it. Shoot, I was hoping I'd have some more friends. Oh, well. IBM turned 100 this week. We actually interviewed on Triangulation on Wednesday the guy who invented Control-Alt-Delete. He wrote the BIOS for the original IBM PC. And that's kind of impressive that IBM is 100 years old. Who was it? I can't remember who it was. Was it GigaOM? Somebody did a kind of asked which companies will be around that are around today will be around in 100 years. Not Instagram. But will Facebook be around in 100 years?
Wow.
Well, IBM has had to reinvent itself a few times.
Several times. They're not even a hardware company anymore.
Right. So that's what the key is. As long as these companies can reinvent themselves, they have to get up to a certain size, obviously, to sustain themselves through any kind of downturns and things like that. But whoever can reinvent themselves a number of times.
It's an interesting thing to think about. I mean, what are these companies? 100 years from now? First of all, what is 100 years going to look like? Who knows? But Microsoft? No, I don't think they'll be around 100 years from now. Facebook, maybe. Twitter? No.
I don't even think Facebook.
Google?
I think Amazon could be.
Amazon. There you go. Google?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to have to reinvent themselves. Clearly, search isn't going to survive 100 years. Not as it is now.
But are even companies like, Ford and GM going to be around in 100 years?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Exactly. I could see I could see like a Verizon or a Comcast.
I like Amazon. I'd bet on Amazon of all that bunch. That's a good one.
I would definitely bet on Amazon.
Apple?
Right move.
That's That's tricky. That'll be a tricky one.
Yeah.
There's one guy who's probably not going to be around in 100 years.
Yeah, well, we know that.
Right.
So I guess that's an even better question: is can Apple survive after Steve's gone?
But I think robot Steve Jobs will be leading the company very well.
You got to think that somewhere on the Cupertino campus, there is a small but dedicated group trying to clone Steve. You think I'm
That's
joking?
why they had to roll back iWeb. That's what they're working on.
Yes.
That team. So,
That was the iWeb team.
right.
That's what happened to them.
I'm sure you guys all saw that awesome video that IBM put out with a person that was born every year
Loved
they've
that.
been in existence.
Love
God, that was amazing.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's probably on YouTube. I can't remember where I saw it, but yeah, and they just showed the year every year.
They say a fact about IBM spoken by a person who was born in the year that fact happened.
Right.
And so it starts with people who are extremely old and works down to just a baby. And it's very poignant. It actually moved me. It's incredible filmmaking.
Yeah, I agree. A great concept.
Yeah.
I don't know whether to give this too much credence, but a senator from Minnesota has proposed a new law, Senate Bill 978, which would toughen copyright laws to the point where you'd get a 10-year federal sentence for uploading lip-syncing videos to YouTube.
Crazy pants.
There are those who think it's a good idea. But for publicly performing copyrighted material, the bill, actually it's 5 years. I'm sorry, 5 years in prison.
Oh, well, that's so much more reasonable.
Much better.
It's not. The Senate Judiciary Committee just passed a proposal that would make illegal or unauthorized streaming of video of movies and television a felony. If that video, even if it's like embedded in your blog, is more than, 10 times over the course of 180 days.
And you don't have to make money on it. It's not like you have to be.
What if I'm taking a video and I'm walking down the street and someone drives by in their car blaring music?
Can't do it. You got to edit that out. Redacted.
And the thing is that no one really sees kind of the creeping death that is this ongoing overreach of copyright and intellectual property law. It's like if this were the kind of law that would affect your day-to-day civil liberties, right? People would be up in arms about how absolutely ludicrous this law writing has become. And the fact that really the RIAA and the MPAA are just handing pre-written law out in whatever state they can come across. What was the one in Tennessee? There was just something insane passed in Tennessee, and the Tennessee governor was like, I didn't really know that. Somebody told me copyright's pretty bad, so I signed this law.
Yeah, what the hell, you know?
It was something outrageous.
Senators Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota and John Cornyn of Texas have introduced. Now remember, if you remember, I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. Just introducing the bill doesn't make it the law yet. They've got a long way to go. But S978, under current law, reproducing distributed copyright works are federal felony charges. That includes P2P transfers and web downloads, but streaming is considered a public performance. It's not illegal. It's not a distribution. And holding a public performance without a proper license is not a felony. This bill adds public performance to the felony list. So now, reproducing, distributing copyrighted works, or performing them, as in lip-syncing them, would be a felony facing up to 5 years in federal prison.
Oh, here's what the Tennessee law was. That was the one that said if you share your Netflix password with someone.
Oh, that's good.
That's a felony.
Yeah,
no,
that's wrong.
That would be a misdemeanor punishable by up to 1 year in jail and a fine of $2,500. Theft of the higher price tag would be a felony.
Now, you got to figure Netflix was the company that pushed this, right? I mean, they didn't just, some Tennessee legislator didn't just make this up.
It wasn't Netflix. It was the RIAA and MPAA. They just write this stuff and they give it to whatever friggin'
just to see if it works.
That would have been great if it brought up the situation of then you have to rat out your friend and say that like he stole your password instead, so he should go to jail. And he didn't actually.
Yeah, that's good. That's how you get off. Unbelievable. What a world we live in, my friends.
Literally stood up there and said, I don't know how bad of a problem it is, but,
Why not?
We got a lot of lobbying about it.
Just in case.
Dear God.
No wonder Molly Wood's just angry as hell.
I'm just mad as hell, and I'm just shake my tiny fist at God.
You'll find Molly's rants at cnettv.com. Are you still doing the Molly's rants?
Yep, cnet.com/Molly-rants. Still ranting about the hyphen.
That's another thing. And another thing. Get rid of that hyphen. Another thing.
Can't take it anymore.
At Mollywood on the Twitter. Jeff Canata, the Totally Rad Show. Great to have you back.
I like that R. I like the R.
Rad.
That's good.
Jess is totally rad. If you need a studio announcer, I will come in and
I like
read for you on the Totally Rad Show. Or do you want me to call it Cho? I call it a Cho.
A rad show.
Rad.
I like that. I like that.
El Jefe, Jeffrey Canata. Thank you for being here today.
Put a little salsa on it. I like that.
Yes.
Nice.
I went to the Ricardo Montalban School of Fine Acting. Also
Some
here,
rich Corinthian leather.
the rich Corinthian leather. Chase. Also here, MG Siegler from TechCrunch. He's Paris Lemon on the Twitter. Thank you for being here, MG.
Yeah, thank you.
Don't forget, everybody, we still got the bricks for sale. We're, I would like to say we're running out, but frankly, we'll just make more. Wait a minute, I got one right here. Look at this. This is.
I'm alarmed. Oh, okay.
Oh, you. I won't throw it at you, I promise. Do you know what? So we're building a new studio, Molly. Maybe you don't know this, but we're building a new.
I do know this. I follow you on the Twitter.
On the Twitter. So the new studio down the street. We're getting close. We'll probably. I think we'll do this show from the new studio probably in as soon as a month. This will be the first. TWiT will be the first show we do. But we have a wall. When you come in, there's a wall behind the reception desk, and we're putting we're letting people buy bricks to help support the studio because frankly it's very expensive. And if you want
to support it, right?
Yes, it holds the wall up. It literally, literally. So it doesn't have to say this. It could say 15 characters, 2 lines on the 4x8. That's $128. You can buy a replica suitable for throwing through windows, but don't do that because your name's right on there. That would be kind of a giveaway. And then we have. Somewhere I have the larger, we have 8x8s. You can get your company logo on. Anyway, go to bricks.twit.tv. It explains all of that. And we do appreciate it. It's not a nonprofit. There's no tax deduction here. Just the goodness of your heart knowing. You know what? This is a great Father's Day gift. If Dad likes TWiT, just say, best dad in world, and then his name or something like that. That'd be great. He'd come visit his brick. We have sold quite a few. I think we're close to 1,000 now, which is neat. It's going to be a really neat display and some wonderful things. There's somebody says, one of them says 404 brick not found. There's one that says one that says press here to open wall. I like that one. Another one says help, I'm behind this brick, let me out. It's great. There's some very good bricks. People have done a great job. Bricks.twit.tv. This show is every Sunday 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. 2200 UTC if you want to watch it at live.twit.tv, but you can always get a copy of it, download it after the fact, audio or video at twit.tv. We thank you for being here, and we hope you will come back again next week soon. I would say, I'm thinking July 24th will be our first show from the new studio. I'm very excited. Thanks, Molly. Thanks, MG. Thanks, whatever your name is. And Jeff. I know you. You're Jeff Canata. I see you on the TV. Thanks to all of you for being here. We'll see you next time. Another TWiT is in the can. Happy Father's Day. Doing the TWiT. All right. Doing the TWiT, baby. Doing the TWiT. All right. I'd love to show you all the new studio. It's really cool.
That's exciting. I saw your video of the work in progress.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
Yeah, we got a spy cam there. They're working. Let me just show you how hard they're working right now. I mean, we're getting to crunch time. In fact, right after this goes off the air, in a minute, they're going to pull out the audio system out of here and bring it over to the new place because that's, and then I'll just shout when I have to do the show in future. And as you can see, the engineers are working very hard right now. In the new studio.
There's somebody. I see somebody.
I don't know if he's collapsed or he's watching.
Oh, there
he is. Who is that? Is that Rogers or John? That's John. Who is that?
Look, he's like, I'm getting up.
Get to work.
Oh, crap.
It's Roger. I recognize the hat. All
First
right.
word, 2 syllables.
Big laugh for me. I take 5 minutes off.
We catch him sitting on the floor. The one time he sits on the floor. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.